What is up, gamers? It's your Average Joe with Average Joe Raids. Today we are going to talk about how you can get 6 MITHRALA fragments every week without even one keying hard Hydra. So I had a little bit of a frustrating Hydra week this week, and I'm going to show you what I ended up doing and how you guys can do the same thing and hopefully get your MITHRALA as quickly as possible. If you're new here, if you've been here before, hit the subscribe button. You can always change your mind later if you don't like relatable content. Getting into Hydra, let's look at it. So, I got 3 times this week, I got use a Hydra key as one of my advanced quests, which that in itself is very, very frustrating because Hydra is one of those things where usually it takes a little bit of time to sit down and really manual it out. You can't usually just hit it on auto. So that in itself, like, I don't like being told when I have to do that because there are already a bunch of daily things you need to do in raid if you're going to keep up with all your resources. So adding that manual Hydra that takes like really a sit down and focus on it amount of time is just really frustrating for me. So I don't like that quest. I kept getting it. So I actually had a day this week that I didn't do all my advanced quests because I couldn't be bothered to do my Hydra then. So looking at Hydra normal, my clan downs Hydra normal every week, and we have not downed hard yet, so we still have brutal that is still locked. So usually what I try to do, and this is how I get 6 MITHRALA fragments a week, usually. This warrior chest, it says 1 to 2, but I feel like I get 2 more often than 1. So we're getting 2 twice from normal because of the 2 chests since we down it. That's 4. And then I go ahead and get my other 2, usually 2 here, although it could be 3, so up to 7 fragments. Trying to get the top key on hard so that I can get another 2 to 3 fragments there. So that is 6 to 7 fragments per week. And my normal team here, we'll go ahead and take a look at my teams and kind of explain what I'm thinking here. This team, I feel like I've done it once before on auto. It wasn't working on auto this week. I did have to manual it. But on normal here, we have Venus, we have Arbiter, Trunda, Geomancer, Rectordrath, and Doom Priest. So Rectordrath is here for her perfect veil to combat against the Head of Torment so that he is not putting fears on us. Doom Priest is kind of doing the same thing and also cleansing off those poisons from the Poison Head. And then Geomancer is obviously there for his A3, putting on burns, which do some damage reflection towards the heads that have those burns on them. Trunda is just being a complete beast, AoE nuker. Venus doing an AoE decreased defense, AoE weaken, also an AoE HP burn, which is great this rotation without the Head of Decay. So the cleansing head is not in rotation 2. So an AoE HP burn and all the debuffs you can get out are just absolutely perfect. So the one thing that I did not have in this team is a block buffs champion or a resistance tank. And so the Hydra was stealing my buffs during this, but also you got to think, like, the only buffs that are coming up is an increased attack from Arbiter, maybe a continuous heal from Rectordrath if you're not if her heal doesn't get you up to full, and an increased attack from Doom Priest. So we're not putting out a ton of buffs, which is what makes this team work pretty well. We've got quite a bit of healing between Rectordrath, Doom Priest, and Arbiter, but we're not actually putting out a lot of buffs. So it's okay that we don't have a resistance take. It's okay that we don't have a block buffs. So that's my normal team, and just having Trunda and Geomancer and Venus, that's where all the damage is coming from. Ends up being pretty decent here. So Trunda and Venus are actually doing about the same amount. Geomancer is a little bit less because he's my slower Geomancer. And then Doom Priest putting in a formidable 1 million damage. So that is a 1 key on normal. So what I'm trying to do is use champions that that I'm not going to use on my hard teams and try to get a 1 key with them on normal. And that was earlier in the week when I got my very first advanced quest to do a Hydra key. Second time, I completely ignored it, and the third time was today, the last day. And so I went ahead and did my hard keys. I was going to make a video about a 1 key hard team, and it just was not panning out for me, to be honest. So we're looking at, this is my first team, the 15.18 million. I had a Geomancer, I used Brogni, Royal Guard, Ugo, who I pulled this weekend, Inquisitor Shamel as a resistance tank, and a Raglan to cure all, not cure, but cleanse all those poisons, and also be another reviver. And then, I'm sure that I could have gotten that team to 1 key. However, we don't have Brutal unlocked. I already had top chest on normal. I had an extra key, so I didn't feel like running Hydra over and over and over. So I went ahead with the 15 million. I felt like I could potentially get the 5 million out of another key to get the top chest, and then if not, it wasn't that big of a deal to me. I would have taken the chest below it, being this warrior chest. So it was what it was. I ran this team twice to get this amount, and it's Cantor the Cyclone, Godseeker Aniri, oh goodness sakes, what's his name? Stag Knight, Mashald, Ninja, and Ursula. You can see this kind of damage breakdown here, most of it coming from Ninja, a little bit from Mashald. Cantor's putting up tons and tons of debuffs. Stag Knight's keeping up our decreased attack, decreased defense. Godseeker and Neri is taking down their buffs and increasing our buffs because, again, I don't have a resistance tank here. I don't have a block buffs other than when it sometimes comes off of Cantra's ability. And so they're going to be stealing our buffs all the time. And so Godseeker and Neri decreasing the length of those buffs on the enemies ends up being really good. So those are the 2 teams that I used on my hard keys this week. And I think that one of the main points I just wanted to talk about is it's great to have a 1 key hard team, but some weeks, like life was pretty busy this week. I didn't have time to sit down until the very last day, the last couple hours before I was going to go to bed, and I did not feel like putting together a team that could 1 key and thinking about it and changing gear and all that stuff. So I went ahead, used the 2 keys. It ended up working well. I'm going to get the top chest on hard, and it is what it is. So I just wanted to encourage you guys, you don't need to use a 1 key all the time unless, your clan is downing Brutal and Nightmare and you can do a 1 key on 3 different difficulties. That's where it really comes into play. But, for me, my clan, we down normal, we hit hard, we've never downed it, so I can use 2 keys on hard. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Without 1 keying hard, you can still get up to 7 MITHRALA fragments a week, which puts you at quick maths like 10, 14 or 15 weeks to be able to get her 15 weeks of downing Hydra normal and hard top chest to be able to get MITHRALA. So hopefully you guys can get her soon. Let's take a look and see how close I am. I am at 65 shards, so probably we'll get into the 70s after tomorrow, and you bet that I am going to make a guide on her when I get her. So it's been a long grind. Hopefully she is worth it. Also, we'll be summoning Rian the Conjurer during this fusion event coming up, so it's exciting. Thank you guys for watching. If you're still here, again, hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. I appreciate every single one of your guys' views. Thank you so much for the support. I will see you next time, guys, and stay average, friends.